سمعنا من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا قائدنا وقدوتنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد اللهم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي اللهم ربنا زدنا علما نافعا وعملا صالحا اللهم ربنا زدنا علما نافعا وعملا صالحا اللهم ربنا زدنا علما نافعا وعملا صالحا اللهم ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم تب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم اللهم أعنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك اللهم أعنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك اللهم أعنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته أستاذ. How are you okay?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very well.
Alhamdulillah.
How are you? As you okay?
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Very well, Ustad. Ustad, we'll be starting from Hadith 38 today. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And just to let the brothers and the sisters, all the participants know, any Q&As, you can put them forward whilst Ustad is speaking, but do specifically mention what your question is on, please, or wait until the end and put your questions forward, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Right, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Shall we start, Ustad?
Hadith number 38. One can more easily burn and destroy the shayateen that come without sihr and evil eye. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna ibadi laysa alayhim sultanun illa ma ittaba'aka min ghawin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving surety that worshippers of His Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Iblis himself, alayhi, will not be able to have any authority and power over the worshippers of His Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, except the ones who follows you, who are already themselves deviators, meaning they have deviated from the path, choosing willingly, again when they went against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's instructions and commandments and the message for some sunnah way. They intentionally willingly went away from that, meaning these people you can have power and authority and influence and even possession of. So generally speaking, the Muslims are more protected than anybody else. That's number one. And number two, even if there is sihr and even ayn and hasad and all of that on the Muslims, it's generally less than if the same sihr was done on non-Muslims. Is that clear? I'll say that one more time. So generally speaking, the Muslims are more protected than non-Muslims from Iblis and his followers. Number two, even if the sihr and ayn and hasad are done, evil is done on the Muslims, then they are less harmed than the non-Muslims. The non-Muslims are more harmed. Why? Because they are upon kufr and shirk. They are upon disbelief. Number three, the Muslims who are worshippers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who are committing less sins, be it committing less major sins, or they are not committing major sins, but they are committing even less minor sins. They are more protected than the Muslims who are committing major sins. Yeah. So these are the levels of general protection. These are the levels of general protection. So the more one is upon the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, upon the haqq, internally, externally, the more one is fulfilling the duties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the creation, right? The more Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is protecting them from Iblis. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is protecting them from Iblis, then obviously anything else beneath Iblis, they will be more protected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from them. As for the hadith, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man qala la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu lahu mulk wa lahu alhamdu wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir في يوم 100 مرة كانت له عدل 10 رقاب وكتبت له 100 حسنة ومحيت عنه 100 سيئة وكانت له حرزا من الشيطان يومه ذلك حتى يمسي ولم يأتي أحد بأفضل مما جاء به إلا أحد عمل أكثر من ذلك." This is one of the famous hadith of Adhkar, specifically لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير. So Islam is saying is if one was to say this 100 times within a day, within a day he refers to 24 hours. So it includes day and night. So if you say at night time, includes its day. If you say at daytime, it includes its night. Yeah. So if you say 100 times, so you have to say in one go? No, you can say, for example, 10 times now, 10 times later on, 10 times later on. As long as it's 100 within 24 hours, then you get the reward of the following. However, obviously it's better to say the 100 willingly and consciously, by which you are aware you are uttering 100 لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير. What is the reward for the one who says that? Firstly, the reward is freeing 10 slaves. Now, obviously, we know that if one frees one slave for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then he is distant from Jahannam 70 years. And when it comes to expiations, most of the expiations, the first instruction Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned is freeing a slave. So here, even if we don't have a slave to free, you're getting the reward of not only freeing one slave, you're getting the reward of freeing 10 slaves, 10 Muslim slaves. Okay. وكتب له 100 حسنة. Written for you is 100 hasana, not 10 hasana, but 100 hasana. So for each time you said, you're getting 1 hasana. Not only that, so if you do a deed, getting 1 reward, right, and then getting 10 reward is minimum. But here, because here you're not only getting the 100 reward because you're saying 100 times, you're not only getting 100 hasana, not only that, you also, by default, you are getting rid of, which will be deleted from your minor sins, mi'atu sayya, 100 minor sins. Not only that, because you said this 100 times, you're getting the reward of freeing 10 slaves. Yeah, so all of this together getting reward because you said this 100 times. Not only that, so as I'm continuing, he says, وكانت له حزا من الشيطان يوما وذلك حتى يمسي. And he has وكانت له حزا, he is protected from shaitan of that on that day until it becomes night time, because in Islamic calendar or Islamic day and night comes first. So the night begins from Maghrib all the way until Maghrib. Yeah, Maghrib to Maghrib, the night, the day begins. So the day starts from Maghrib and 24 hours and ends at Maghrib. So you the whole day, including from the Maghrib, so that's night, and then the whole day from Fajr all the way to Maghrib, you are protected from shaitan. Now, from shaitan, firstly, Iblis and anything that's beyond, beneath him, including the sihr, the magician shaitan, the mas shaitan, the hasad shaitan, the ain shaitan, any shaitan that's bothering you, harassing you, torturing you, oppressing you, you are protected from it. Now, you might say, okay, I don't feel that protection. Keep repeating, keep saying, and then you'll see that the protection is actually manifesting, because it's taking time for you to sense and feel it, because it has been with you for so long. That's why. But it's actually manifesting. So you start slowly you start seeing the effects of it. وَلَمْ يَأْتِ أَحَدٌ بِأَفْضَلَ مِمَّا جَاءَ بِهِ. And no one can come with something better than this إلا أحد عمل أكثر من ذلك, except the one who does more than this. Okay, so here you get the indication that you can say لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له more than 100 times, more than 100 times. And there is also indication that there is no adhkar, which you say 100 times which has equivalent reward with this. I'll say that one more time. There is no dhikr, there is no remembrance by which it has equal reward to this. So yeah, let's see the benefits. Also benefit the power of Tawheed and this dua to destroy everything harmful. So the main thing in this dua is Tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So once you internalize Tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you repeat it, in a repeated manner, you internalize and you repeat it, then it begins to remove the blockages, remove and burn away the sources of sihr and the symptoms of sihr and ayn and hasad and so on, and mas shaitan. It needs to burn all of these things away. Sincere apologies if I sound very tired, is because it's 12 a.m. here and back home, and I had a very long day today, and that's why I might be sounding very tired. The second point of benefit, the power of repetition. So here it's repeated 100 times, and this is the reward you get, including protection from shaitan. Number 3, one can protect themselves even from Iblis. And number 4, one can more easily burn and destroy the shayateen that come without sihr in their life. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are not mentioning the shaitan came with sihr and evil eye or hasad and so on. So by default, because sihr and evil and hasad they're more evil, he did it, and more work was done, more evil work was done, it needs extra work for you to get rid of it. So if there is a shaitan just simply bothering a Muslim, then it is simple these adhkar, morning and evening adhkar, and adhkar after salawat, and just the fundamentals and the fundamental and the highly recommended sunnah and adhkar of the day will suffice a Muslim. He or she doesn't have to go, for example, and do Ruqya and so on by themselves or go to a raqi. They suffice simply by fulfilling the 5 salawat, the adhkar after them, and the sunnah rawatib, the sunnah salawat, and the morning and evening adhkar, sleeping adhkar, and adhkar of entering and exiting of the house, toilet, and so on, adhkar of eating and drinking. All of these adhkar of the daily adhkar basically protects a Muslim from Iblis and anything obviously under him. Next hadith. Hadith 39. So repetitive dua, sadness and stress is relieved. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Itnada rabbahu nida'an khafiyya." When he called to his Rabb a private supplication. Nida'an khafiyya means it was a private, secret, and sort of silent. Yeah, khafi means silent also. So it was a very, very sort of intimate call to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you find this intimate bonding of the call by the prophets and those who are very close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You find them calling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a very secretive, quiet, calm, collected manner. Very focused. And it's secret as private, meaning it's secret that they don't tell anyone. As private, no one can see them. Yeah, or no one knows that they're doing this. It can be simply also that they're in the midst of people, but they are talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala within the heart. Yeah, making that conversation within the heart of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Obviously, this dua by Ibrahim alayhi salam and other prophets, these du'as were relief of them from stress, sadness, sorrows, grief, complaints that they had with the creation. They're complaining about them or about their issues to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala obviously answered them. Sooner or later he answered them. So conversing with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and talking to him from your heart relieves stress, relieves sadness, relieves difficulties and challenges. Eventually manifests upon you. Minimum manifestation is contentment. Minimum. So there is the relief, the immediate relief of sadness when you're talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the minimum he places upon you contentment of the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As for the hadith, عن أبي سعيد الخدري رضي الله تعالى عنه قال دخل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ذات يوم في المسجد فإذا هو برجل من الأنصار يقال له أبو أمامة فقال يا أبا أمامة ما لي أراك جالسا في المسجد في غير وقت الصلاة قال هموم لزمتني وديون يا رسول الله Abu Sa'id al-Khudri narrates that the Messenger ﷺ entered the masjid. He entered Masjid Nabawi. فإذا هو برجل من الأنصار, and there he found a man from the Ansar who is to be named Abu Uman. قال يا أبا أمامة, so Sallallahu said to him, O Aba Umama, ما لي أراك, why do I see you sitting in the masjid when it's not Salat time? It's not Salat times. So it could be between, for example, after Duha Salah, between, let's say, half an hour to 1 hour before the Adhan of Dhuhr Salah. So there's no Salah time like that. Or it could be after Isha Salah, all the way to an hour or two before Fajr Salah. There's no Salah time like that. Yeah? So it could be at that time or that time. Meaning it's not any obligated Salah times that you ought to be in the masjid. So what are you doing in the masjid? So Abu Umama replied back by saying, هموم لزمتني وديون يا رسول الله. I have stress, I have challenges, I have difficulties. Humum refers to things that have piled up, things that have built up, stresses, worries, tension, sadness, grief. All of these are called humum. It came in plural form, and many, many things are piled up. And the word he uses, lazimatni, they have sort of settled in my heart, around me and around my mind, my thoughts, everything is preoccupied with these worries and stress and tension, yeah, sadness and grief and so on. And also the yunun and debts. So that means what? That means Sahaba wanted to be self-sufficient, even if it means they become self-sufficient through borrowing money and trying to establish themselves and stand on the 2 feet with businesses. So debts. Then Sallallahu said, قال أفلا أعلمك كلاما إذا أنت قلته أذهب الله عز وجل همك وقضى عنك دينك. قال قلت بلى يا رسول الله. قال قل إذا أصبحت وإذا أمسيت اللهم إني أعوذ بك من الهم والحزن وأعوذ بك من العجز والكسل وأعوذ بك من الجبن والبخل وأعوذ بك من غلبة الدين وقهر الرجال. Sallallahu said, should I not teach you some words, some statements, some dhikr? إذا أنت قلته, if you were to utter them and say them, in the if you were to utter them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would remove from you these humum, these stresses, these grievances, these challenges, these difficulties, this stress, these tensions. Yeah. Not only that, وَقَضَى عَنْكَ دَيْنَكَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself he would pay off your debts. قال قلت يا رسول الله. So Abu Umar says, of course, O Messenger of Allah. قلت بلى يا رسول الله. Of course, Messenger of Allah, teach me these statements and this dhikr. So Sallallahu said, إذا أصبحت وإذا أمسيت. Twice, morning and evening. Say this. So when it's morning time, meaning whenever you've woken up, and for you it's a morning. So it doesn't have to be the actual morning. You can say it whenever you woke up. So if you went to sleep, for example, early and you woke up at tahajjud time, yeah, you woke up at tahajjud time, you prayed your tahajjud, and you're waiting for the salah. You pray your Fajr Salah and you sit in the masjid, and then it's not yet morning, right? It's not clear morning yet. It's becoming morning, we can say it. Similarly, Amsayta, when it becomes evening, for example, you're in the masjid, the sun has not set yet, but it is setting. You can start saying, because it's setting, you can start saying this dua. dua is Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-hammi. Oh Allah, I take refuge and seek protection. From what? From ham. Stress, worry, tension, sadness, grief, everything is included in the ham. Wal-hazn. Wal-hazn is sadness specifically. وأعوذ بك من عجزي, and I take refuge with you from inabilities, meaning that I ought to do this duty, but I'm unable to do it. Allah, give me the ability to fulfill this obligatory or fundamental duty. والكسل, and laziness. وأعوذ بك من الجبن, and I take refuge with you from being coward. والبخل, being miserly. وأعوذ بك من غلبة الدين, and I take refuge with you against debt taking over me, overcoming the debts. And being overpowered by men, overpowered by, in terms of intellectually, in terms of smartness, in terms of cunningness, and so on, in terms of authority, power, and so on. But look at the amazing thing. قال ففعلت ذلك فأذهب الله عز وجل همي وقضى عني ديني. Bahuma, he reports, فعلت ذلك. Now, who is he saying? فعلت ذلك فأذهب الله عز وجل همي وقضى عني ديني. Who is he saying that? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala got rid of my stress and tension, my sadness and grief, and I was paid off my debts. Who is he saying that to? He's saying that to the narrator, Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, who saw Messenger enter the masjid, found a man from the Ansar, وقال أبو أمامة. So what did Abu Sa'id do? What Abu Sa'id did was that he went and kept asking Abu Umama, oh Abu Umama, is your stress relieved? Has your sadness and grief gone? Until Abu Umama said yes. Yeah. So subhanallah, look how much certainty they had with Prophet ﷺ, or before that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's words, revelation. If Abu Umama says this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will remove the stress. And Abu Sa'id was going to not confirm, but to pass on this message to us, next generations of Muslims. Look what your Rabb said, or what your Prophet said came true if you implement. The origin of this dua can be found in Bukhari and Muslim. As for the actual text, this one, long one, is found in Abu Dawud. Personally, this dua for me, personally, I say this is the most productive dua a Muslim can say early in the morning. Just write that down. Personally, for me, I say this is the most productive dua a Muslim can say in the morning. And I've said this a couple of times before. I said this to anybody who's unproductive or lazy or going through so much stress and so on. I've said this to them. Wake up for tahajjud, pray your tahajjud, sit and do istighfar, go to the masjid, pray your salah in the masjid, and sit there until duha salah, pray duha salah, and say this dua. Keep saying this dua, keep saying this dua from morning, keep repeating it until you feel you're exhausted or tired or you're going to come back home, then come back home or go to work. But keep throughout the day, keep saying this dua until all of these are manifested. Your harm is gone, your stress and tension is gone, your sadness and grief is gone, your inability is gone, your laziness is gone, your cowardness is gone, your stinginess is gone, your debts are gone, and Qahr al-Rijal is gone. The authority of men over you is gone. Okay? So this is the most productive dua that you can make as a Muslim and Muslim. Wallahi. Repeat this, memorize this dua and repeat it, but obviously start from tahajjud. Why tahajjud? Because if Christians say a Muslim, tahajjud is the most blessed moment of the whole entire day. Tahajjud is the most blessed moment of the entire day. It is when the Quran was revealed. Yeah, that time, Tahajjud time. Rather, according to the vast majority of the scholars, it is the time when the all of the revelations were revealed. It was at Tahajjud time. At the other night, all the revelations were revealed at other night in Ramadan, and it was at late night. Even Muhammad Sallallahu his revelation when it came at night time, it was at Tahajjud time. That's why Sallallahu never missed Tahajjud. For him it was obligatory, because the first connection he had with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was during Tahajjud time, whilst he was praying Salah, as he knew it then, was just prostration and bowing and so on. Just the postures basically. Okay, let's see the benefits. Once a benefit. Every emotional sacrifice or trauma can be removed and relieved through dua and adhkar. So through this dua and other adhkar, like we said in the Quran, for example, with the intention of removing trauma, psychological, mental, emotional, it can be removed. And let me say this to you, my brothers and sisters, in a reiterating manner. There is no emotional, psychological torture that a person has gone through, except the prophets went through severely. But it was removed. It was removed from them. Sadness and sorrows and griefs was removed from them. How did they remove it? They removed it through the recitation of the particular revelation. And second, it was through mentioning and remembering of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's through du'as and adhkar. Second benefit, the patient and the raqi ought to utilize dua and adhkar as Rukya, remedy and therapy. Next. Repetition is often needed for the dua and adhkar to be uttered wholeheartedly and consciously in order for there to be an effect. So that bonding that you want to have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the core level, it takes time. Because there are your sins, minor and major. There is also the issue of enemies around you, right? Wiswas and so on. So all of these barriers need to be removed before the bonding takes place. So this is the benefit of repeating. When you keep repeating, first you cleanse your soul and your heart from negligence, heedlessness, from minor sins and major sins and so on. And then you also remove the barriers to viswas of the shaytan of human beings and jinns in your thought process, in your understanding, in your perspectives. And then you make that bond with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you make that connection at the core level. And then wherever you utter becomes very, very powerful and profound and effective. Next. Nothing that has befallen you is beyond one decreed it in the first place. Allah. Obviously, nothing that you went through nothing is beyond Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's authority and power and decree. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the first place decreed it. Is one who decreed it upon you. So the one who decreed it upon you, he can elevate it. Even if it is something in the past, he can remove the pain of it from your heart. The ultimate cure and the complete relief only comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because he is a shafi. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only is a shafi. What does a shafi mean? He is the curer. Meaning he leaves no traces of any illness. Rather, not only that, he actually makes you better than what you were before the illness. So the health you had before the illness, it makes you better than the health you had before the illness. Okay, we'll stop here inshallah ta'ala. If that is the last benefit, go down. Yeah, we'll stop here inshallah. With that, we'll start for next week from Hadith number 14. If there are any questions, you may ask inshallah.
Okay, Ustad. Jazakumullah khair for your time, dear Ustad. Brothers and sisters, all participants, if you have any questions, please do put them forward, inshallah. Ustad, I have a question, which I'll read out first, is, I don't know how to deliver this because it doesn't, I just can't read it out properly. Anyway, I'll try to put it in my own wording. So any harm that touches an individual, it has to basically go through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is that correct? So for example, if there was someone doing some sort of evil behind closed doors against another individual, it has to go through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's doors for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to say kun fayakun, for it to go ahead. Is that correct, Ustad?
Yeah, and more so for more harms. So there's the more the harm, the more it has to go through the core of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Is that in all cases? Like, is that
All cases.
in all cases? SubhanAllah. So that alone should give an individual some sort of tranquility to know that nothing happens without Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say.
No, that's there for you to seek the treatment from Him, seek the cure from Him. So the reason it went through Him, so that you don't put the power, you don't lay the power on the magician. You don't lay the authority in the magician, nor on the evil man or the evil woman who's doing this, nor on the person who's going to the sihr, nor on Iblis, nor on the shayateen. So you lay the power ultimately with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And thereby you then go and seek ruqya and treatment the way He has instructed you to do. Firstly, tawheed. Secondly, ibadah. Thirdly, by fulfilling the rights of the people around you. And fourthly, going through the legitimate treatment which He has legislated.
SubhanAllah. Hope that answers the question. Jazakumullah khair for that, Ustad. In regards to another question, which I will put forward here, which again, brothers and sisters, if you don't mind, just try to be a bit clear when writing your questions, as I'm trying to reiterate them myself. So the next question will be, if you followed all the legislated means, which is, for example, seeing Iraqi, making dua, seeking refuge from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and so forth, but you're still not being relieved from this affliction, what should one be doing other than sabr?
No, there is no passive sabr.
Okay.
In Islam, there is no passive sabr. It's only proactive sabr.
Okay.
Meaning you take the means, you continue to take the means, and you continue to take the means. That is patience, because you're not seeing the reward. You're not seeing the results.
So it's
you're not seeing the fruits.
So it's not just a matter of I've literally visited Iraqi, the Iraqi couldn't help, or the Iraqi gave me a treatment plan and I've tried it and it's not working. So it's a matter of being consistent in doing this treatment, consistent in seeing Iraqi, consistent.
Yeah, that's the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have to take the means.
SubhanAllah. Okay.
Cure yourself. So you take the means to cure yourself. And whilst you're taking the means, you're being patient of what? The cure.
Yes.
You're being patient of the result of the treatment. You're being patient upon the relief. So whilst you are taking the treatment, that's where the patient lies. This is called proactive patience. So patience in Islam, there is no such thing as negative patience or passive patience. It doesn't exist in Islam. So passive patience, negative patience is condemned in Islam. Iswala is called in Islam is called cowardice. It's being coward. It's being lazy. Yeah. It's you're giving in to the shaytan and you're giving in to the enemies, which is haram for you. Yeah.
Yes.
You have to take the means for it to cure. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala named himself a Shafi. What is the point of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala naming himself Shafi if we don't take the means to get the cure from him? Yeah.
I understand. Hope that answers the question. Okay, I've got another one here. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Okay, no, that's the same question related. Okay, so the next question is Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is in regards to when the cure comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, other than being thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, should one still follow means to protect themselves?
Yeah, of course.
So for example, they feel that they're fully cured, and do they just go back to their normal lifestyles,
No, I usually say continue the Rukya treatment for another 6 months.
6 months, okay.
6 months.
Would you advise self-Rukya, or would you advise that seeing a professional?
It depends on how much. As long as the obligatory is not being harmed and affected, then there's no need to see the Rafi.
Okay.
But if your obligatory is, be it worships with Allah or obligatory towards your fellow human beings, be it parents, be it children, be it siblings. So if any obligations are being neglected due to the illness, then it becomes obligatory for you to see something. Yeah. Other than that, it's not obligatory. It's highly recommended. It's only when you're missing your fundamentals and obligatory, be it with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like salah, due to the illness, or be it you're unable to fulfill the duties towards whom you are responsible over. For example, could be a husband, could be a wife, could be parents, could be children, could be siblings.
Hope that answers the question. The next question will be Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. I just wanted to thank you.
And if it was severe sihr, then I usually say 1 year.
Okay.
1 year. Why? Because you cover all the seasons. You cover all the days, you cover all the nights, and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protection from all of those days and nights and the weeks and the months and the seasons, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect you from the evil life and the hasad, from the mess, shaytan, from the sihr as well. So if one whole year is clear, then alhamdulillah you can go back to your normal Muslim daily recitation and daily adhkar. You don't have to do any more self-Rukya, like taking a Rukya bath and so on and so forth. So 1 year is more like guaranteed. 6 months, if it's a minor sihr, minor hasad, minor ibla, and if it's severe sihr, then I would say 1 year after you are cured.
Okay, Jazakumullah khair, Ustad. Ustad, the next question is, have you got time, Ustad? There's a couple of questions.
Yeah, bismillah.
So this one, Assalamu alaikum. I just wanted to thank you for recording your classes. I have started another course which classes with this one, and it is not recorded. It would have caused me a lot of distress if I had chose, as I have benefited greatly from this course. Alhamdulillah. I have a day off today from other course. Whenever Ustaz makes the app, please request at the end, could he intend it for anyone listening to recordings, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward Ustad abundantly. Allahumma ameen. So the participant is asking, please make dua for all the participants involved in all of your attendees, as in the people who have attended your classes.
Now, even the ones who listen afterwards, they are all included, inshallah.
Jazakallah khair, Ustad. Okay, the next question is, again, so this, I have to reword it again. Brothers and sisters, if you don't mind, please try to put your questions clear, if you don't mind, please. That way I can deliver them to Ustad clearly, as I may interpret them wrong. So the next question is to do with Ayn al-Hasad. Ayn al-Hasad, what is the best thing one can do to basically, like they feel like they attract it a lot. So what should one do to protect themselves from this other than daily adhkars, because they feel like adhkars are not sufficing them?
So if you're a sister, then obviously maybe if you're not wearing niqab, then begin to wear niqab. If you're wearing makeup, not to wear makeup, or lessen the makeup front of women. Obviously, in front of men, you should not wear makeup. Non-Muslim men should not wear makeup anyway. So take these kind of protection, practical protection as well. The other practical solution is wherever you go, if you feel you are attracting ayn and hasad, to, we've said this mentioned this many times in our this class and other classes, to have a tissue where the tissue is recited water, wipe that area, be it the door handles, be it the seats where the people sat, be it the tables, right? So once you wipe, the door handle is the best because everyone has to use those door handles. So the athar, the sweat is there, the DNA, the unseen DNA is there. So when you've collected that DNA, water collects that DNA. Once you've collected that DNA, then you squeeze that water out in a bigger bottle, like for example, a 5-liter bottle of water. And with that water, you have ghusl 7 days until the day you went to that gathering. So for example, you went to the gathering Sunday, you start having the shower from Sunday until the next Sunday. Next Sunday, you have the shower. So that's 8 days altogether, not 7 days, 8 days altogether. So next Sunday, you also have the shower. So you have the shower from Sunday until next Sunday, which you have shower. On Monday, you stop, and then you see how you feel. If you feel you're cured, alhamdulillah. If you feel you're not cured, then start the shower again. If you want to increase the DNA, maybe you did not get 1 or 2 of DNAs, then go back to that place, get all the doors handles, whichever, even fire exit doors, maybe some people came to the fire exit, wipe those areas, squeeze the water into a small bottle, come back home, squeeze the, pour the water into a bigger bottle, and have the shower for another 7 days. If you're cured, alhamdulillah. If you're not, then the ayn and hasad could be from another place. The best thing to do always, if you go to your place, wet the tissue and wipe the door handles of that area or of that place. And then have showers with it for 7 days, 8 days, including the day you went.
Okay, next question is to do with cure. So basically, the individual, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cure them with a perfect cure. Allahumma ameen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala turn their pains and agonies into blessings and barakah. Allahumma ameen. The individual basically feels like they're not being cured, and it's been many, many years. They feel like the cure comes for a few days and then everything is renewed again. Can you give some sort of advice to this individual, please?
Yes, we mentioned this before, is for you to intend the sources. For you to intend the sources, write this down because the same questions keep coming.
Okay.
It's vital that you listen to these lectures from the class 1 and take notes, because if If you don't take notes, you'll forget what was mentioned. So the sources, what are the sources? So number one source is a source of lineage. So you intend, Wallah, the first sihr that was done on my lineage, Wallah burn that source of sihr and its symptom. That's the first source. The second source is your parents. So Allah, the first sihr that was done on my parents, Allah burn that source and its symptom. The third source is you. So Allah, the first sihr, there could be 10 sihr done on you or 100 sihr that done on you. So you intend the first one. Allah, the first sihr that was done on me, Allah burn that source and the symptom. Next one, it could be that was done on your lineage or on your parents or on you, right? As the main sihr. So you go back and say, Wallah, the first sihr that was done on my lineage, which was the main sihr, Allah destroy that. This is the same thing regarding your parents. This is the same thing regarding yourself. And in those intentions, you do the treatment of the day. So that day you do, for example, with that one intention of your lineage, you do showers, you spray the house, you apply the oils, right? You do the hijama on that day, for example. You have besides water, you have oil, if it's severe, you apply the black mask, and so on. So all the treatments of that day, you intend breaking and burning away the source of sihr, the first one that was done on your lineage, right? Like that, you can then find out exactly which intention, right, is affecting you the most, which day, and you can also find out which intention, i.e. the source, is affecting you with which treatment. So, for example, you intended burning of the source of the lineage, and when you do ghusl, you become very tired. If you apply the oil, you're okay. If you spray the house, you're okay. But as soon as you do ghusl, it affects you the most. That means that first sihr that was done, it was done with water. It was done with water. So now focus on ghusl. Instead of doing ghusl once, do ghusl twice. Maybe even do ghusl 3 times if you live in a hot country or if it's summertime. Okay? So it's all about finding, it's a trial and error. It's all about finding out through your intentions, through your du'as, and then through the Rukya treatments, and having a monitoring system where you monitor every single day which intentions are affecting you the most. That's the way you can find out the sources. The other source, obviously, same like sihr, you make with hasad. The first hasad that was done on my lineage, the first ayn that was done on my lineage, the first mas shaitan that came into our lineage, or the first magician that came to our lineage. And then you go to your parents, then you go to yourself with the same intentions. So these are the sources. Please write this down because this information you not get it so easily from other people. Alhamdulillah, because I've been dealing with this for so many years, these are some secrets that people has come to know of the magicians after dealing with so many cases. Okay, so once you know the sources, then it's so easy to cure the patients. You just tell them on this day. Once they find out which day the source was done, all they have to do is to do the treatment on that particular day and intensify the treatment the night before, on the day, and the day after, and they are cured. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it very clear, when the cure meets, the illness meets. The key word is meeting. When the cure and the medicine is met with the illness, that the meeting needs to take place. The day, the time, what they used, the opposite of that needs to be utilized and so on. So when the meeting takes place, some says cure takes place. So the key thing is the meeting. Key thing is the meeting.
Okay, Jazakumullah khair, Ustad, for that. The next questions are to do with...
This will be the last question.
So the next questions are to do with dream interpretation. So anything to do with dream interpretation, I can direct you to www.fitrahcenter.com and you can book an appointment to speak to Ustad Shaykh Abu Ubaid directly in regards to dream interpretation. It's not a matter of answering these questions straight away. It will take a consultation and appointment, inshallah. So just to repeat that, www.fitrahcenter.com, and you have all the services on there, which are Rukya services on site, on the phone. You also have consultations for dream interpretation. You have hijama bookings on there, and you have other services as well. Also, you have treatment products where you just click on the top right corner where it says shop, and you'll see which treatment products are there. There's also a treatment plan on there, which is personally been done by Ustad Shaykh Abu Ubaid, which you can get for yourselves or your loved ones, inshallah. And also in regards to catching up on this class, brothers and sisters, where obviously, as you can see, we're on Hadith 40 from next week, inshallah. Highly recommend maybe go to the website and download the PDF for the 50 Hadith for Rukya, print it out so you've got a full booklet in front of you, as well as you've got the lessons from lesson 1 recorded, which is on the YouTube channel, for Dar Al-Qam YouTube channel and Fitrah Center YouTube channel. And yeah, inshallah, that should help. Like Ustad did mention, do take notes. Go back on the Q&As, have a listen, take down your notes, whichever ones benefit yourselves. And you may be able to help others around you as well via this, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for everyone. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all your khair. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you all with a perfect protection. Allahumma ameen. And Ustad, thank you so much for your time. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you so much. Keep you blessed wherever you are. Allahumma ameen. Barakallahu fi.
Jazakumullah khair, Sheikh Yaz. Barakallahu feekum. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all of our deeds. Keep us sincere, keep us strong and steadfast. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to worship Him as He ought to be worshipped. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from all harms, the ones we know and the ones we do not know. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cure us from all illnesses, the ones we know and the ones we do not know. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us the best we can be before we die, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give our deaths with the best of deeds that He wants us to perform for He Jalla wa Ala subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sallallahu wasallam ala nabiyyina wa imamina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah.